Do you self-sabotage relationships right when they start getting serious? Does the thought of commitment or marriage scare you? If so, you may be dealing with commitment phobia. The good news is commitment issues are highly treatable through science-backed techniques to face fears, heal insecurity, and open your heart to love again. In this video, we'll cover the psychologist's insights on the roots of commitment phobia, signs you may have it, and practical strategies to overcome it. You deserve healthy relationships where you feel safe to trust and bond deeply with partners. According to researchers, the top causes of commitment phobia are: Number 1 is fear of losing your autonomy or sense of self in a relationship. You may prize independence and dread sacrificing freedom. Committing signals you'll have to compromise, coordinate with a partner's needs, and lose privacy. This looming loss of selfhood can breed resistance. Another source is fearing re-experiencing painful past relationship memories. You may avoid committing to protect yourself from further hurt. If you face traumatic breakups, infidelity, abuse, divorce in childhood, or controlling partners, those wounds impact willingness to reopen to intimacy. Perfectionism and impossibly high standards also fuel commitment issues. You may nitpick partners, waiting for an ideal match that doesn't exist. When unable to find flawless mates, you bail before forging bonds. This self-protection ends up protecting you from meaningful commitment. Low self-esteem and abandonment fears also stymie commitment. You may question deserving love or long-term security, so you cling to casual situations. Heartbreak-driven beliefs you are unlovable or relationships are fleeting become self-fulfilling prophecies. Insecurity blocks committing. Unresolved past relationship trauma is another factor. You may feel unable to give your heart fully until you process anger, grief, resentment, or attachment injuries. Carrying the heavy baggage of emotionally unexamined past relationships weighs down new bonds. Healing is required to commit freely. Do any of those explanations resonate? Let's now go over key signs you may be commitment avoidant. Number 1 is intentionally pursuing short-term, dead-end relationships to avoid commitment pressure. Think serial dating or keeping partners at arm's length. Commitment phobes opt for hookups, situationships, or partners they know aren't long-term viable to elude commitment expectations. Panicking or feeling trapped whenever a relationship gets more enmeshed is another sign. Committing means relinquishing an easy exit, triggering fight or flight. At signs of deepening intimacy, you may pick fights, withdraw, or sabotage the relationship to regain breathing room and freedom. Chronically being hot and cold also signals fear of commitment. You alternate between acting invested then aloof and unavailable. Ambivalence reflects the clash between desiring intimacy and independence. This back and forth stems from dreading commitment. Another red flag is refusing to define relationships or set boundaries. You may avoid labels like boyfriend or girlfriend to escape the commitment. Keeping things ambiguous allows exiting easily, but it also blocks the relationship progressing beyond transient flings. Do you purposely find faults and flaws in partners to undermine relationships before commitment sets in? Nitpicking avoids bonding. Committing feels scary when you're perfectionistic or deny loving positives in mates, so you detachedly focus on deal breakers. Are you unable to promise monogamy or commit to major relationship milestones like moving in together? Do you frame love as loss of freedom? Strong commitment phobia manifests in avoiding sacrificing singledom privileges for relationship growth. Another indicator is difficulty being vulnerable and trusting partners with your heart, true self, and inner world. You may keep an emotional distance. Opening up risks getting attached, so you refrain even when dating seriously. This stops relationships reaching commitment status. Do past failed relationships, parental breakups, or divorce in childhood still haunt you and make it hard to trust again? Unresolved pain impedes committing. If you feel panicked, trapped, resentful, or lose yourself when relationships get serious, committing likely triggers deep fears. But healing is possible with the right strategies. Number 1 is getting to the root of your commitment resistance through deep inquiry, journaling, or working with a therapist. Reflect on when fears emerge. What past relationship wounds or patterns shaped your avoidance? Pinpointing origins puts fears into perspective. Another helpful strategy is reframing limiting beliefs about relationships with empowering alternatives that serve you better. If you think commitment means sacrificing freedom, reframe it as freely choosing to build a life with someone through conscious commitment. If you reduce relationships to potential hurt, reframe them as opportunities for mutual growth through vulnerability. Next, identify core fears like engulfment, unmet needs, heartbreak or abandonment. Then develop skills to self-soothe those anxieties. When fears feel overwhelming, tap into your inner wisdom that you have the tools to handle challenges with partners compassionately. Additionally, communicate your commitment issues openly with partners from the start. Manage expectations clearly. Authenticity allows navigating fears together, at a pace you're comfortable with. Reassure them it's not about them when you feel triggered. See a relationship coach or therapist to unearth roots of avoidance and acquire healthy bonding habits. Healing past wounds is key. Make commitments incrementally, at your own pace. Don't rush into situations exceeding your window of tolerance. Gradually expand it. Challenge fears through logical thought experiments. Ask yourself, what's the worst-case scenario if I commit? Could I recover and handle it? Is limiting my life out of fear serving me and my fulfillment? How likely is it my anxieties will manifest if I commit? Would commitment expand my growth even if it's uncomfortable? Practice self-soothing habits when defensiveness arises. Journaling, meditation, exercise, calling a friend. Don't act on fears before resolving them. Strengthen your self-knowledge, self-esteem, boundaries and integrity. With a solid sense of self, committing won't threaten your identity. Make sure you're committing for the right reasons: shared values, intimacy, companionship. Don't commit due to codependency, pressure, ultimatums. Above all, reflect on how navigating fears has expanded your courage and wisdom before. Have faith you will grow in unexpected ways through commitment. Truly committing requires bravery, but it expands us. Loving freely without losing yourself is possible with mindfulness. If fears persist, be patient with yourself. Healing happens in its own time. Focus on each day, each trust-building conversation, expressing your needs, practicing vulnerability. Don't get overwhelmed by the future. Share your fears openly. Let your partner reassure you. Feel their empathy when anxieties surface. Receive support. By continually choosing trust and intimacy over fear, you build relationship foundations impervious to commitment phobias. You deserve security. No relationships end until one doesn't. The poignancy of temporariness makes commitment precious. Let this moment matter. Commitment requires a leap of faith in yourself, in your partner, in the unexpected growth love nurtures. You have so much to gain by daring to try. If you resonated with this video, check out my Conquering Commitment Fears series. You hold the power to create the bold, beautiful committed partnership that liberates your spirit.